We're here talking with Jimmy Levy and DPAK. We're going to talk about things that are going to shock you, things that you've heard of, that you've thought were conspiracies that are not conspiracies.
I just started realizing the dark side of the music industry. There is a devil. In a lot of studio sessions and writing sessions, there were satanic rituals, and it was like a blessing that would say over the music.
Well, if you're manifesting the outcome through dark magic, all the pieces will happen for that to happen.
There are many that decided to make that choice, but I have personal stories, and I won't give names either.
There's certain artists and their teams that weren't allowed in the garage.
One of the major artists I worked with said, "You better stop with this gospel BS." And I was like, oh my gosh, these people were so good to me when I was all about Satan and on drugs. And
yeah, and the industry is doing that. It's compromising the music, the art, the message in order to fit into these narratives, like you said.
For people that may not even yet know that that's there or agree, this is as real, right?
What's up, I'm Jimmy Levy. I'm a singer, songwriter, revivalist, and revolutionist here with Human Garage. We're gonna talk about some interesting stuff today.
Hey, what's up? I'm DPAK. A musician, multi-instrumentalist. I speak about empowerment, health and wellness, and freedom. We are going to have an amazing conversation today about a lot of wild stuff.
Super excited to have you here, Jimmy and DPAK. We've got a chance to, get to know you a little bit. Seen you at 2 events now, I think. And but I really wanted to dig into your story because you've gone through some similar things to us with things like censorship, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. Not only what the impact is, but like how it affects you as a person. Yeah. And DPAK, I know you've also gone through the same thing.
Yeah.
So we have one thing in common, outside of the fact that we're all biological males, is that we've all been censored in social media. And I think it's a really important topic because I do see that it's changing right now.
Oh, real quick, did you assume that I'm a biological male?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure.
You're not a biologist, so how can you?
Are we all following the science? If we don't, we're gonna get censored again, just for even saying that. It's a perfect lead-in, because even saying that was a part of the conversation, was even being censored around something so basic as being a biological male, for example.
Yeah, I mean, and also why we want to do this podcast is because we want to put a voice to people again. We want to create a space where people can share these kinds of messages, right? Because it does impact you financially, it impacts your reputation. I want to hear more about what you guys have gone through when it comes to having your voice censored.
Jimmy, a little bit of your story. I mean, you've been in the music scene for a while. Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what some of the things that you've done?
I started off at 15 in the music industry as a songwriter. So I was a ghostwriter for all of the major artists. And then I wanted to do my own music because I would hear these artists that are some of my favorites singing my stories, and then you kind of get this, I would say, jealousy, which is different from envy, but it's like the same jealousy that God has for us when we serve someone else instead of him. It's like, that's my baby, I made this story, and someone else is crying and singing it like it's theirs. And I was like, all right, I need to make my own, just put out my music for me. And I was always shy, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna be the background. And so finally I started doing the music, and because of my background, which my grandma, she was a big psychic. She was actually the #1 psychic in the world, and she would host all these seances for all the major artists and, do different rituals and basically find missing children. She found Adam Walsh's head. She, had her side-by-side show with Larry King, and my mom was
I remember watching her.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was really a power.
She was finding all the missing children, finding all the issues that are out there. She was helping police, and it was really, really cool.
And then Elvis too, right? Wasn't she?
And Elvis.
She was like the lead psychic for Elvis Presley, and then held the biggest seance in like a stadium, right?
Yeah, she held a whole. It was called the largest seance ever conducted. I don't know. It was the year he died, but there was a big protest of Christians outside, 10,000 Christians calling her a witch and stuff. So I had a mix of opinions and, my family, but I grew up in a Jewish family. My grandma was the first Jewish psychic, which was already a breakout from what they believe, which is in the Torah, it's considered necromancy. So I was open to all these different, beliefs, and because of that background and how I was so into like the ghosts and stuff, I was able to get into dark magic and witchcraft from the industry, and I was open to getting into that in order to do certain things and manifest certain things, which, you know, in the beginning I thought was cool, and it would be cool and edgy, and, you know, I was doing rituals with friends and whatever, and then I just started realizing the dark side of the music industry. I started realizing that, you know, there is a devil, and, you know, when you grow up Jewish, you're taught that that's not real. You know, you're taught like Hashem, God is all that matters, and you don't have to look at the negative, which is good from a positive perspective, but the negative also exists, which is where the light shines through. To know the negative is to know that light exists, you know. And for me, you know, once I started losing friends that were participating in these things and noticing a correlation between people that suddenly went missing or suddenly took their lives, I started understanding how real the devil was and how the rituals were negatively affecting people. And so I was like, well, if the devil is real, then I have no doubt to believe that Yeshua is real. And as a Jew, you know, for me, like, it was like a little crazy because a lot of the Jews don't believe in Yeshua, or what many people call Jesus. So I started changing all my ways of thinking and really like getting sober, putting myself around other people. But when I spoke out about the industry, the entire media canceled me. Like it was right after I was on American Idol.
So people know, I mean, you wrote music, you're on American Idol, your sister's on American Idol. Can you give a little bit more of that track so that people can get context?
Doing my own music, I started doing YouTube covers. And at the same time, there was an app like in the beginning of my YouTube cover phase called Vine. And so I would do covers of, you know, different people's songs, whatever. And every time I did a cover of the people's songs, some were satanic, and I'm not even going to name or give credit to anymore, but they would repost it. And so I went viral on Vine, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm not gonna go to college. I'm gonna just do music. This is what I want to do, and this is clearly what I'm supposed to do, what I'm being called to do. And so, you know, I did that. When I started making YouTube covers, BB Rexa and Ludacris discovered my video in a duet with a girl that I was doing, and we got put on a TV show called Best Cover Ever. And it was me, the girl that I was singing with, Katy Perry, Keith Urban, Demi Lovato, Ludacris, Jason Derulo, and basically they judged the best covers for each group. And so we were told to make covers of BB Rexa songs, and we got into second place. And then after that, I was still back in the industry, and I was, you know, dealing with all the craziness. And American Idol hit me up, so I went on Idol, and
So American Idol hit you up.
yes, but I'm not going to talk much about American Idol.
You know, so that's not normal. Just so you know, like that's pretty
normal. But it's normal if you have a following, like they'll hit you up to come audition, whatever. But
I mean, that's the point. You had a big following. You were well known already.
Yeah. From like, you know, on the music side of things, and then after Idol, when I took a stance, that's like where I lost everybody that I had originally. And my audience kind of flipped. It quadrupled, but all the original audience that I had, you know, kind of left, because my audience before that, like my first album, my song was about BLM, climate change, anti-gun control. My first protest, because now I'm known for protest music and for the right side of history, freedom, humanity. My first protest song was No Need for Weapons, Ease Your Aggression, Love and Be Loved. So I was being brainwashed by a left-wing agenda, even though two birds are the same, two extremes. At the time, I was on that side. And I was at the March for Our Lives on the stage, and wrote the theme song for the students that got shot, because out of my heart, I was trying to, you know, stand up for the kids. But how the media on both sides work is, let's, you know, utilize and weaponize whatever this person is singing or saying in order to further our side of the agenda. And so, you know, they ran with it, and I was all happy, like, oh, this is great.
It happens on both sides.
Yeah,
because
100%.
I think it's people pick a side and they think that their side is right, but the media weaponizes statements from people on both sides
Yep.
to further their agenda.
100%.
And then the people that are hurt are the artist and the people that are being weaponized.
Well, that's what controlled opposition is. So it's like controlling, it's creating duality and separation and creating a narrative where each side thinks the other's the enemy and that they must not have compassion or love. And the other one thinks the same, that they must not have compassion or love. And so everyone's fighting from a place of love to protect these victims, but the victims were all, most of the time were created.
Yeah.
And they might be an illusionary victim, but now everyone feels like they're fighting for good. So it's, you've weaponized an army from a core of love. That's the thing to remember. That's why I want to make that point, is because there is love that's coming from love. So you can have the compassion again. Otherwise, we'll be stuck in they're the enemy. But everyone's doing their best. Everyone's trying to help someone else.
I mean, you saw the inner workings of the system on both sides, right?
Yeah, I mean, now I'm seeing it on the other side. So, it's like I had so many phases from religious Jewish to secular Jewish to satanic Luciferian to hardcore religious Christian hating on everyone to relationship with God and able to see eye to eye from a point of love and being open-minded.
Now looking at that, do you think that you had all those experiences so that you could be here?
100%.
So
I think it's a
they're
learning.
necessary.
100%. I don't think anything is a coincidence. I think that everything that happens in life, like a lot of people will cry, why did this happen? And I'll be like, okay, what can I learn and what is this message and what happened? Like on this trip, my wallet on like the second or third day got stolen with everything, and I was supposed to leave way earlier. And because my wallet got stolen, I get to meet you guys. I got to hang out with my friends. I got to hang out with Alexis and Samantha. I got to make good music, and I met a lot of cool people, and I got to look at California differently, because I always had this hatred towards California, not only because the right have perpetuated that hatred in my head, and I was around all the people that are naturally will, dismiss California as a whole just because of what a group of extreme thoughts and beliefs are saying about it or pushing in it. But I realized California is beautiful. But the last time I was here, I had a negative connotation perspective towards it because I was doing dark stuff here. This time in the light, I'm here and it's like chill, and it's been amazing and beautiful, and I look at it completely different. So I don't hate California anymore. So it's all for a reason, and I can't get mad. I'm just a chill guy, and whenever something crazy happens, I've learned to remain calm because of the joy that I have in the Lord, because I'm never happy. Happy is only based off what's happening. Someone's dying around me, someone's going nuts around me, there's a storm happening, but I'm just chill because I already know that He's God and I'm still, and that's it. Who cares?
That's the power of perception too. It's like you last time had a different story around California, but
Yep.
part of it is also who you're with. If you're you could be anywhere, but if you're with a community, amazing people, you could pretty much be anywhere.
Yeah, 'cause we have our own little bubble.
Yeah, like if we have God and family and community, like we could plant ourselves anywhere in the world and be in a beautiful space.
You said that overnight you kind of switched your message, your audience flipped. Yeah. What happened there? How did you switch? Did something ignite that? And what was the response from people around you?
There was a series of things that occurred. One being I lost some friends in the industry that were practicing the same things that I practice, and I realized that they had departed from us as a ritual. And understanding the dark and how that works really scared me, honestly. Another thing was I had witnessed things at firsthand that made me feel uncomfortable that I have not yet really shared, but I understood the depth of how dark things are and how it wasn't just cool and edgy like I first thought. I believe God allowed me to see these things because He wanted to be okay, you want to play in this, you want this fame that you're desperate for, whatever you want. I was young, whatever. here, I'll show you how dark it is. Go ahead, go look at it. You want it? This is what you get. And it's not as a form of punishment, but it's a form of teaching me a lesson to see how good he is and how good the other side is. Why am I even trying so hard when he can do way more? And that's what I've learned. It's like when all that happened and things that I understood about the industry, and how dark it is. And I realized all music is spiritual. Like at the end of the day, this helped me understand how music works. So music started in the heavens, and Lucifer, who I used to worship, was the lead angel in the choir of the heavens. He would sing for God. All the angels would sing, but he was the leader, right? And growing up as a Levite, I was like, okay, in the Torah, the Levites are the only ones who are allowed to sing in the synagogue and the worship. They are the worship leaders. So I grow up, I'm like, oh, that's why I'm a singer, And so I would look at Lucifer and be like, wow, I'm like Lucifer, the Levite, like the lead worship singer. And I was so like intrigued, but I realized what happened. Lucifer wanted all the glory for himself. He wanted to take the shine away from God and give it to himself. So then he wanted all the angels to sing to him instead. And so what happened? God was like, I gave you your gift. This came from me. You're not going to take all my creations and start having them serving you. And he casted him down here, became the God of this world. And now everyone asks, oh, what's with all these artists in the music industry with their devil horns and this and all the satanic messages? It's because he runs the music industry. He's still the lead of the choir, and the scripture says he's the God of this world. So yeah, that's why. It's very simple. That's where it starts. So understanding that all music is spiritual, no matter how simple, even if it's, I'm driving in my car, it's spiritual because that's a mantra. Even Michael Jackson used to say,
it's a mantra.
It's a mantra. You're coming into agreement with whatever is being spoken, whether good or bad. And so I realized what I was doing was not good. All my songs became about Satan. My whole persona was Satan this, Satan that, Satan my father, all my songs. And I realized I was worshiping him, whether it was directly or very passively, because music is worship. All music. We were all born to sing. That was literally supposed to be all our jobs until the world came in and gave us all other jobs. So that's why everyone can sing. We're taken away from it. You were singing.
You're singing.
I'm sure you're singing. So, and everyone always uses that same excuse whenever you mention singing. They'll be like, oh, I sound good in the shower. That's a negative connotation. That's another form of programming that everyone has. Everyone that believes they can't sing uses that one line whenever a singer is around them. And that's the thing. You can sing. Everyone can sing. And you can all be as good as each other because that gift is from God. And that was one of the only main gifts that he gave to every single human on this earth. And it got taken or tampered and used for other things because it's the voice. It's our voices. We're supposed to speak like David and then the demons flee. Our voice is supposed to speak and the darkness goes away and the light comes in,
I think that generally people now, even if they weren't aware of it, now can look at a Super Bowl show and see that's very demonic. In the Diddy case, Sir Lucian Grange was the head of Universal Music, and this whole thing got wrapped up in the Diddy case. And Lucian Grange, Lucian is also from the derivative of Lucifer. Mm-hmm. That's this, like your last name, Levite. These are all names that are derived from something.
Right.
So there's a lot of wrap up with that, and I think that's all coming in the press right now. That's been in the case. There's been indictments. There's been mentions and stuff like that, and that's all starting to unravel. But you were around that firsthand.
Yeah.
And so a firsthand account of that. For people that may not even yet know that that's there or agree, this is as real, right?
So I would say 80% of what is said online is actually true, and you'd be shocked to see how much people actually know now. But
people are definitely waking up.
Yeah. But there's like I don't know, I can't even say 80. I'd say like 50-50.
There's a glorification of it.
Yeah,
there's people that make stuff, but the reality is that when you watch a video and they drop blood into a glass and drink it, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
I'm not going to mention the names, but these are real accounts of stories. And what is it about that I've always wondered, because from the inside, there is a propensity or desire or even a command to share this in their music or at a halftime show. Yeah. It's part of a ritual.
Part of a ritual. Yes. You have to show it on public display as part of.
So why is that?
So Luciferians practice karmic law, and basically you're not allowed to lie, right? So Lucifer, he copies, he steals, he can replicate, but he'll never be God. But one thing that I would say most Luciferians follow is like, they never directly lie. They'll tell you the truth, and if they look at us, the masses of people, like useless eaters. So let's say like me, for example, like I'm talking to you right now and having this conversation, and I'll just be like this, like leaning on my hand like that, just so that I can show you what I'm a part of, but without telling you. Right. But I'm not going to tell you the symbols, you see the symbolism. But now that that's glorified so much, I don't know. I'm not a Luciferian anymore, so I don't know what the next wave of Luciferians are doing now to hide or masquerade behind. But during my time,
they tell you in the music, it's like, they tell you I'm going to do this to you, and they do it to you, and that way they avoid the karmic law. That's how it works, right? The karmic.
And the same way in the movies, there's no movies anymore, not one. I would say, okay, maybe more documentaries, yes, or if it's like by Angel Studios, is like,
or like a lot of independent films that are not in the Matrix.
Yeah,
but pretty much all of it's predictive programming.
Are predictive programming. Every single one on Netflix, unless it's a documentary. Or like a health
and even the documentaries, they won't approve certain ones that are too exposing too much.
Yeah, like Christspiracy.
Well, that's why they didn't go. Christspiracy is our friend's film. They didn't go on Netflix for a reason, because they didn't want to compromise the story, because they were being coaxed to do so. And again, the industry is doing that. It's compromising the music, the art, the message in order to fit into these narratives, like you said.
So it's interesting because you're coming out of that, and you're. In my own way, I came out of privacy and encryption, and I was telling the world what happened, and the world turned on me really quickly. The institutions turned on me really quickly, and that's where I got imprisoned. And because I broke the silence, and in a way, what you were doing is breaking the silence.
Yep.
And what happened when you got canceled, and how did you feel about it? What did it do to you as a person, your family, your life?
When it first happened, I was just like, wow, the media lies? Like, what do you mean I'm a right-wing bigot, conspiracy theorist, Trump supporter? Like, they were naming all these things that I didn't see myself as. I was on the left. I was very like whatever. And so they're calling me all these names. I'm like, how are they going to lie about me and make me look crazy? I thought the media tells the truth. And I was like shocked. And it kind of like, they woke me up, because I realized, wait, so if they could lie so boldly about me and not worry about if I'm going to sue them for slander or defamation, I was like, wait a minute, who else are they lying about? And that was a whole nother matrix, because that's when I started looking into right-wing politics.
That's actually a powerful point, because now when I see an indictment, no matter who it's against, I go, I know what they did to me. Yeah, I don't believe any of that,
right.
So I don't buy into that. That's a powerful position to be in, because then you don't get tempted to believe the writing on the wall.
And that's also the same with when I see the truth pages or the Illuminati exposing pages talk about some of my friends, and like they're sitting right with me and they're saying they're like a clone or an alien, and I'm just like, we're both like laughing. It's like, if they could do that, then I also have to only speak from first point experiences versus like what I read online, because like a lot of it is BS too.
It's the other extreme, right?
So can we?
Yeah, like you have those extremes are on both sides.
You said that you hadn't talked about certain things. You said that you hadn't even shared certain things.
Oh yeah, there's certain things I've not shared.
What is one of those things that? Here we go.
You might be waiting.
Yeah, not yet.
There's a timing probably.
There's a time and place.
Okay, so
there's a time when I'm gonna be blessed by God to have security.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason I'm still alive, and it's probably because I haven't said those things.
Okay, fair statement. So, what are in the range of things that people are already generally aware of that happen? True or false? Sacrifice.
True.
Yeah. Child sacrifice.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Drinking of blood. Adrenochrome.
True.
I mean, there's a U.S. patent number on it.
I would say drinking of blood true, just from people I've talked to.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like
Witchcraft.
very true.
Yeah.
It's like the most true out of all of those.
Yeah, most true. Mm-hmm. Percentage of the industry that's involved in those practices?
Not much.
Small in terms of the top level, because people underneath.
The ones who control.
But is it the
higher percentage in the controlling operations?
Are the ones who are practicing these things in the top 5% performers?
Yeah,
like, in order to get to that level, do you have to take these steps?
Not all.
It's not have to, but there are many that decided to make that choice. But I have personal stories, and I won't give names either, of people that decided not to, that still got big, but maybe they didn't get placed on the Interscope's like #1 rotation. They still got big on their own and toured the world and got big in like other countries in Australia, but they decided not to be this one, for example.
Hollywood did it. I mean, if you look at the people that didn't take the money, Adam Sandler, Mel Gibson. Yeah, like there's certain people that didn't take the money, and there's people that took the money,
right?
And that's kind of where
that's why it's not all, because there's people that are strong, I'd say people like us that are still growing and just figuring out how to grow outside of that and not be compromised.
But it used to be if you weren't involved in those things, it was really challenging. I feel like in today's world, it's way easier to grow.
Yeah, because we have independent access and the internet, and there's people can independently put their music on Spotify or independently make a film. And back in the day, there were gatekeepers you couldn't even get the music on the radio without going through that.
So knowing what you know right now, like our audience is, I mean, it may be changing, but currently it's 75% women who are moms. What do you say to the moms right now? How can they take your experience and then help their children? What are some of the things that they can do?
A lot of moms are not paying attention to what their kids are listening to. And it's mostly important to protect their ear gates and their eye gates. It's spiritual doors, which a lot of people in the music industry know very well. And they know how to access people's minds and access their brain using their music, using their voice. And it's a form of almost like a dark remote viewing, a dark entering of the mind, a dark entering of a portal through their body. And
so what do they do? Like, because this is pervasive, it's in the music that their friends are listening to. What kind of music can they listen to? Where can they go?
But also, what are the tactics of programming? Yeah. There's symbolism, there's the music, there's the frequency.
The lyrics that we talked about.
There's also like healing frequencies versus disruptive frequencies. Yes. So like you might, from your knowledge of what you experienced, you probably understand the programming and the different mechanisms. I'm curious what they're actually doing.
So I understand more of the dark side of the programming, which is in a lot of studio sessions and writing sessions, there were satanic rituals that either involved animal sacrifice or other types. And it was like a blessing, that would say, over the music in order for it to reach its highest form. And so now these songs are coming out and everybody's wondering why it's so catchy. And it's a term in the music, earworm. The earworm, but it's the worm, which is the demonic parasitic thing that was just planted in the song as the mantra for people to hear. Now it's in the radio frequencies, and who's the prince of the air? It's Satan. It says he's the prince of the air and the power. So they're very aware of that. And so now people are at home or in their car listening, and now they're coming into agreement and they're singing things that they wouldn't actually say. If you look at, she was one of the biggest pop artists when I was growing up. And she was in a satanic cult, and she spoke about leaving. But the things that she was singing, which I think, I believe people were writing for her and her former label, from what I remember. She was saying, tonight like we're gonna die, da-na-na. And it's put on a dance beat, and everyone's dancing, and it's a kid song.
It's so happy, the beat's so happy, everyone's having a good time.
And they're speaking death over their life. They're manifesting it, and they're dancing. So it's like it's a peace and love. It's death disguised as peace and love. It's the spirit of death disguised as peace and love. And now you watch the video, it's her with this pentagram in the background and all her friends dancing in front of the pentagram. And it's like, oh my gosh, I grew up in the bar mitzvahs and the parties, and I'm like dancing to this song like it's a pop song. And it's literally a satanic ritual spell that is disguised as happiness. And that's how they work it. That's
getting the masses to repeat the mantras
to speak death over their life.
Honestly, I can't even listen to music with lyrics most of the time because I don't even know what's being programmed into me.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's like being mindful of what artists you're listening to. So like if I was an artist, let's say I'm 13 years old and I'm stepping into the industry, how does one even get into the things that you were doing? Is it through an introduction to somebody? Are they seeking it? Do they get pulled in because they're talented? Like, How do you even end up in that place in the first place?
So there's so many factors. I mean, everyone's story is unique, you know, with that. Like for me, I was in another industry, and in Miami, the music industry is very small. So I got into circles that started, you know, saying, oh, you want to try this with us? And I was like, heck yeah. I was super down for whatever growing up, you know, just hungry in the industry, trying to start out, whatever, and also trying to be cool and edgy. So doing things to fit in, which, you know, took a turn, you know. But for a lot of kids, like, you know, they'll make videos online, they'll go viral, and then there'll be a creepy manager or someone that wants to prey on them that will hit them up and be like, hey, I can turn you into a star. And most parents, sadly, are very weak, very, very weak, especially in this generation. The male is very weak. The woman is trying to be the male. So there's no nurturing, and then there's no strong protection from the father or nurturing from the mother. And so what they see is money, 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 because they completely dismantled motherhood and nurturing and the roles in the home and everyone, and they pushed with this, oh, the patriarchy, like they're able to program all of us. We know this. So that whole thing led to this in the music industry. The manager says to the oh, let me talk to your parents, whatever. These parents are selling their kids for record deals.
Literally, right?
And almost
they're so
nothing,
weak.
but they think it's a lot because, man, I'm like almost shaking.
Well, that was big around the
when you
story
start-
around Michael Jackson, who, you know, like most people I would say would say he's innocent, but parents were literally going there intentionally, setting these things up, and then creating lawsuits. You know, it's the same. And the R. Kelly, they knew what
Well,
R.
with
Kelly
R.
was
Kelly,
doing.
it was real.
Yeah,
Because
it was real, and they knew what R. Kelly was doing.
it
but
was
they
public. He was with a minor. Did he marry Aaliyah? Or no,
I don't remember.
He was with a minor. It was very public. He was a pedophile. He was into young children, whatever.
This goes really deep. If you get into pedophilia, pedophilia was actually something that was practiced.
Right.
And then I think it was about 250 years ago, and I might be wrong on the date, it became disdained upon. And so the pedophiles moved into a place where they had supply and they had protection. That was the church. And now the
Also
Catholic,
wearing something where you can't see if they're male or female.
yeah, you take a look at I'm gonna say something that's going to distort your view, possibly distort your view of Catholicism. You know, and there are lots of practicing Catholics that are good people. So this is not about the people.
Right.
But you ever wondered how the old nuns always looked so old and manly, and like the old ones if you look back at the video, go look at pictures of the old nuns. They look like men.
They probably were.
Look what they were wearing. Yeah, complete disguise. And we know that came to the church because now the church is under lawsuits all over the place. Again, this is not about the people. There's great people in there.
Yeah.
But this is where the movement went, and that movement never died. As a matter of fact, Jennifer Lopez did a movie called The Cell. This is back in the 90s. That movie was about pedophilia. And it's been prolific. It's been in all of the acts, and you know, and coming from an area where, as an adult, I realized that was part of my life, and my mom's life. My mom came from the Dallas, the Deep South, and my uncle was a pedophile and committed suicide.
Whoa.
My other uncle was killed as a pedophile.
Wow, so you've seen this.
Yeah, I've been around this, and
Right.
what was crazy is I didn't even think that I had been a part of it.
Right, you didn't even know probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my generation, I broke the cycle.
That's it. You break the generational curse.
Yeah. But growing up in that, I had this weird feeling in the back of my head all the time, and a question. But the question wasn't even loud enough for me to verbalize it, and I didn't know about it until I was in my 50s.
Wow.
Yeah, recently. And it came up like a lot of the other traumas that have come up. So these are things that have been going on for a long time. And it feels like to me when I look at it is that music and art and entertainment has hijacked these practices, or these practices have hijacked music, art, and entertainment to proliferate. Fair statement?
Yep.
Yeah, big time. In fact, that was a lot of, Mickey Willis, who I worked with on all those Plandemic series, a big part of his message is like, hey, the industry's been hijacked. He was out here doing film in LA and saw the same thing from the film side and the music video side, and wanted to create an entire new world of media, you know, the new renaissance, or a way of like reclaiming the art for the people again. And that's why we did some of those films, the documentaries, and specifically the Plandemic musical was about taking back music, story, and narrative away from the hijacked demonic messages and into like a place of empowerment and like just reframing the narrative, reframing the mantras.
So I had a couple of experiences. Number one is I protected information for people that were doing nasty things.
Encryption, right?
Yeah, including governments.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the main clients.
Yeah.
But I had this feeling I had to move away from. Then I went into healthcare and a lot of celebrities, and then there's just certain people that I didn't want to work with, and we didn't. There's certain artists and their teams that weren't allowed in the garage. I'm not going to name them today, and we wouldn't let them back in.
And this was you had the place in Venice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just certain ones we wouldn't work with. This has been going on for a long time. So what about your transformation? How do you get out of it? Because there are people that are artists right now. There are people that are artists that are either going into this or in it, and they are looking for, because a lot of times people are doing things, they're in a practice, whether it's drugs or behaviors or a cult, and they want to come out, and they're looking for a way out. What's your way out of all this?
So for me, it came to a period where like everything, all my music was about the dark. Everything was about Satan. My imagery, everything. I was collabing with all the artists I ever wanted to. Everything I manifested in rituals came true. And I was miserable, and I was scared that I was going to get killed for speaking out once I started. And my friend Nick, he would always call me, and he's like, I want to tell you about God. I want to tell you. I was like, I don't want to hear that. I'm Jewish, whatever. And then finally, I was being threatened by people. A lot of the people that I spoke out were stalking me and telling me I better shut the F up. I don't know what I'm getting into. And then somebody got killed that was speaking out that I had just been with, and I was freaking out. And so I called my friend. I'm like, all right, tell me about God. What do I do? Like, in my head, I was like, I don't want to go into another religion, right? Because I already had been in one. I saw the division and all that stuff. But he basically showed me that it's more of a relationship to take away the fear that I had and the spirit of fear. And so when I was speaking out, I was getting all hate, everything. People that, you know, used to be so good to me turned on me. The people I worked with, the artists were one of them said, one of the major artists I worked with said, you better stop with this gospel BS. And I was like, oh my gosh, these people like were so good to me when I was all about Satan and on drugs and, you know, doing the craziest stuff. But now like I'm just trying to be healthy and sober and like just be positive, and they're like so mean and like foul. It's almost like, it's like I don't know, it's like the spirit, it's like the spiritual realm of it is so crazy. And so I said, what do I do? He said, I want you to come back to Florida. I want you to go get baptized. I was like, all right, if I get baptized, my Israeli family is going to kill me. Like, that's literally like, you know, like eating a cow at the table of an Indian family, you know, like.
Which happens all the time.
Yeah. And so I did it. And then, you know, I was like, okay, I didn't feel anything in the moment. But when I got home, I was so scared. All I could think about is, oh my God, I'm going to get killed. I'm going to have to leave. Go away from where my family is, because there's no way that my family's going to get affected because of me speaking out. And so I got on my knees and I was just like praying, and I was like, God, Yeshua, whatever you are, just come into my life right now and like, please, like take away this spirit of fear. I want to be bold. And I had a fluffy carpet on the floor, and I felt this like IV feeling through my whole body, and I just started crying, and I ended up falling asleep on my carpet. And when I woke up, I just like wasn't scared anymore instantly. Like, it was just crazy.
You know, I had a very similar experience that I explained. I had a moment in prison where I prayed to God and I had an immediate result. And you know, it's part of the story. I share it in a lot of different places. I won't share it here. But the other part too is in 2010, I lost my ability I was sitting in front of a computer and I could not remember how to make it work. And I knew, because of the brain damage and from concussions in my life and stuff like that, I knew that if that continued, I didn't want to live. And I rolled up in a ball, went down on the floor, And I got scared and I just cried, and I stayed there, and I fell asleep in a ball on the floor, and I woke up at some point, maybe like 8 or 10 hours later. And the decisions was, number one is I either end my life or I find a way to solve this. And that sounds like that resolute moment that you had.
Yeah, it's pretty much like I had gotten a few like suicidal experiences, especially I lost someone very dear to me, and I wanted to join them. All I wanted to was to join them, and I actually planned a suicide for 3 months up for my 21st birthday. I'm 27 now, so the night before my 21st birthday, leading up to it, I went and filmed a music video. I was in a coffin in the video. It was a song called Shadow that I wrote about a ghost walking around their funeral, not realizing they're dead, and then seeing their portrait by the coffin and then realizing, oh my gosh, I'm gone. And so I made this whole song to come out at midnight once I was already dead. I went to LA here and I filmed the video. I came back, I got a will and testament, did it for my family, and then I was like set and ready. Night before my birthday, I go under the water in my pool. I put 2 cinder blocks on my feet to hold me down, and I was practicing this for a while. And I was under the water for like a minute, and no one's answering me that whole day. So I'm like, okay, further validation to take my life. And then I hear my mom come in the house, and she's on the phone, and I hear it, and I jump out of the water, and then she leaves. So she was only home for like 2 seconds. She was probably like doing a reading or something on the phone. And I go into my room and I'm like, no, I'm still dying. The song is coming out at midnight. And if I'm alive, the art is not going to be fulfilled. Like, this is supposed to be like a masterpiece. It only is cool if I'm dead. And so I took 13 pills, like Prozac, Zoloft, Xanax, Oxy, I think Advil too. Like, I mixed it all together. I had what I called the suicide kit in one of those orange pill jars. I took it down with Don Julio, and I just laid on my bed. It was like 6 o'clock. And I just knock out. And then I feel a buzz under my back, and I go like this, and I just like open my eyes, and I see a white light on the wall. And in my head, I didn't know what death is, so I just knew the cliche white light, whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm dead. And I just start smiling, and I'm like, oh, finally, I'm gonna see her. You know, like, I'm all like happy. And then I hear the horn of a car, and I look, and I see it's my window. My window was by the front door where my bedroom was, and it was my friend's car light shining up on the wall, and I was like, oh. And then I feel the buzz, and I'm like, hello? And my friend's like, let's go, I gotta take you. I'm like, what? And so I get up, and my friend like comes into my house. I go to the car, and I fall asleep on the door. Like, I was so out of it. Like, I barely remember even that part, but I remember it in increments. I'm just like sleeping on the door, and I just remember the door opening, and I'm in front of a nightclub in Wynwood, and all my friends and family are there and producers, and they're just like, surprise! So they surprised me, and I'm literally dying while they're surprising me, and they don't know that they're doing a surprise party / video release for this song. Don't realize it's my suicide video. And then the song, I go on the stage at 11:55. I sing the song terribly because I'm blacked out anyway, and it's all on video. And then right when midnight hits, I'm like, guys, I'm 21, and everyone's like, woo! I'm like, no. I'm 21, you don't understand. They're like, woo, I'm like, and they're like, all right, he's a little lit, whatever. And so they take me off the stage, they put me in the car, and then they start playing this song, and I remember like sobering up a little bit because it was unreleased, and it was called Red Horns. And I was just like, kind of, you know, I automatically, like, I'm very paranoid when it comes to like releases and stuff, especially back then. And so I remember everyone's like filming, and my song that's unreleased is being recorded. I'm like, oh no, I don't want. And so all of a sudden I hear Jimmy Levy, the biggest, and my favorite rapper at the time, Rick Ross, got on the song as a feature to surprise me for my birthday. So I'm just like, all these surprises on the day I was supposed to take my life, and had this all planned, and I'm very OCD, and I was so ready to die, and like, that's not what I want, and I'm still dying with all this stuff in my body, and I feel like I'm gonna throw up right when everything's happening. And I run out of the car, I run down the street, I lean over a dumpster, I throw up, and in 8 hours, none of the pills dissolved in my body. They were all there. And so I was like, okay.
That's one of those moments, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're meant to be
And
here
that was
still.
one, and I didn't learn my lesson.
It's one of many.
Yeah, that was like my first okay. But like, you know, I didn't learn until more experiences, and then finally that moment in my room, you know, really was when I was like not scared anymore, because after that, like I hadn't spoken out yet. I spoke out like a little bit after that, because the video of that song ended up being a satanic video, and I took it off YouTube. I didn't want kids to be influenced by it. Like the whole video starts with the Ouija board, then I'm in a blood ritual, and then I come into the occult, run through a maze of, you know, demons and stuff like that. I'm showing the industry and I'm trying to set them on fire, but I'm still being pulled, and I'm doing the symbols and stuff. And, you know, Ross is in it too, and, you know, it's like it just wasn't what I wanted children to see.
So now you sing gospel.
After that moment, I thought, oh, everything's peaceful now. Like, I'm with God. Like, I'm chill. I was going bold. Media's hating, whatever. And then October 2021, I get offered a multi-million-dollar deal from a label. And they said, we're going to make you the male Adele. You can't say God. You can't say Jesus. You can't talk about Trump. You can't post. We're going to take over your social media. We're going to write 2 albums for you. It's going to be a 3-year contract. And I was going to do it. And I was like, okay, this is from God. Oh my God, I'm good now. Like, God's blessing me. Yay. Like, you know, and I'm sitting with my friend, and he said, if you sign that, you're selling your soul. And I said, why? I'm not doing rituals anymore. I'm not doing, and he was like a heavy Christian, and I was just learning about like Jesus, so I didn't know much about, you know, anything yet. But he said, what profits a man to gain the world and lose his soul? You're willing to take that money and not talk about anything you experienced and just basically shut up? This is a silencing contract. This isn't a record deal.
It's a censorship contract.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't care. Like, you know, I'm putting my mom in the house. Like, I'm an artist. This was the dream that I always wanted. I still had that greed, you know? And I said, what do you suggest I do? Because right now I'm canceled. I have a big following online, but like I'm like the Alex Jones of music right now. That's not what I expect to be. I love Alex, but that's not what I wanted to do. You know, like I love, you know, what he says, everything's facts, but like still. And you know, he said, why don't you make a song exposing everything? You've been talking online. You're getting, a lot of people are seeing everything, but you should make a song. And so I ended up collaborating with a rapper, and we made a song called This Is a War. Now, at that time, I took everything off my social media because I was deciding what I was going to do. And finally, I put up, new song, gonna shatter the satanic industry, This Is a War. Overnight, I put a clip, goes insanely viral. Every single fighter and politician posted everything. It just blows up.
Huge hit. That's how I found out about him, was that song.
They retract the contract. The people that wanted to work with me don't want to work with me anymore, but the song ends up coming out, and in the first hour, it was #1 in the US. Within 30, I think I'd say 30, 35 hours, it was #1 in like 12 countries, and then it became the theme song because the lockdowns were happening, and I was already against that, obviously. I was fully aware that 6 feet apart was a satanic ritual. Instead, it would be with something a head of an animal, not a mask, but, you know, I was very aware of what the correlations were and what was going on was going to be a mass psychosis ritual. And so I was calling it out, whatever. But song comes out, it's already #1. I was like, all right, this is what God wanted me to do. So then we put out another song, Welcome to Revolution. And all the songs, you know, Welcome to Revolution came out during the trucker convoy. And so it became the theme song of all the truckers worldwide. This Is a War became the theme song of like the people standing against the mandates and the lockdowns and standing up for the children. And that's why the opening, This Is a War on the children, is because, you know, I was calling out like the pedophilia stuff too, aside with the trafficking, and then all at the same time, the overall government tyranny. And I realized, wow, this is what God wanted me to do, you know. Yeah, maybe I would have made a lot more money and had a lot more fame and do all this if I shut up and became the male Adele that they wanted me to be. But making the impact on people's lives in a positive way, being able to sleep at night knowing that I never put a demonic agenda from a victim perspective or standpoint, and that I was able to help people during one of the darkest times in human history, the lockdowns and the vaccine genocide, it's worth it. I could die now and just be happy. I did everything I wanted to do.
Wow. Interesting. I want to go back to something you said earlier. you were saying that 6 feet apart is a demonic ritual.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? And like, what other things were being said in music at that time that were programming people to separate?
Well, I mean, Plandemic kind of covered that, a lot of that, but you know, every artist. I mean, I even the NAACP, I trolled them big time. I got an email from one of their either correspondents or something. I don't know why they emailed me, but I'll just leave it to that. And they were offering to pay me to promote the lockdowns. There was another company called Heart that they sent me a list of all the influencers they were paying on TikTok. Like they were paying them like $75,000 to get kids excited about lockdowns and fun activities.
Yeah, like Pfizer was paying everyone to promote the vaccine. All these artists you see, Ariana Grande, all of them, they're all doing these rituals and dances and writing parody songs celebrating the vaccine shots. Like take shots. And it's like, it was.
They ruined The Lion King. When you got the vaccine.
Yeah.
Like,
There's so many parody songs that.
But what about 6 feet?
Yeah, what was it 6?
Well, 6 feet apart is like 6 degrees of separation. Everything is in the number of chaos, but like the second they set it in form of, you know, keeping a social distance, it was almost like they wanted this veil of sadness, sorrow, and keeping us away from each other, hence the plastic things that we had to hug each other with, not being allowed to be around our grandparents when they're in their vulnerable state, as so they said, and they basically mass murdered people while keeping the family separated. So the whole thing was like a murder ritual, but the 6 feet in specific, there were some things that I saw at firsthand in the music industry that, you know, people would stand in a 6 degree of separation while doing a chant or while doing a sacrifice.
It's also
And so-
death. You know that phrase 6 feet underground?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's representing death.
Yeah.
So if
it's
when
a
you're
spirit of
buried,
death.
it's measured as 6 feet. So this number is just being used very loosely, thrown around, but it's around the concept of death,
The
and
human,
sacrifice.
the human biological, the field, the
field.
entropic field is 6 feet.
There you go.
That's a normal field.
So
So
they
let's stay out of each other's fields. Let's not be in communion as humans.
And let the spirit of death pervade,
right.
basically.
And death 6 feet under.
And how much is like numerology, astrology, 369, all of these, you know, methods that people are using to navigate their day, are they using that in these rituals?
They use gematria, but
What's that?
Keeping it vague.
I'm gonna keep it vague.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, keep it
Because
vague.
it's gonna.
Jumanji.
There's a time. There's a time.
Yeah.
Jumanji.
I'll just say that they're very aware of dates, specific dates to do their rituals, specific dates that things are gonna happen, and they are in control of everyone's betting life, the scores on games that everybody's watching, which is another mass distraction ritual.
That's actually coming out now, like the scripting of sports and
Yeah, big games.
and also like the knowledge that you know 50% of the child trafficking happens during the Super Bowl.
Yep.
It's like because everybody's attention's focused, and these things which were conspiracy things, are actually becoming like people know that they're.
Yeah.
But how do you control the outcome of a football game?
You pay somebody off.
I know, but I want to truly understand that because there's a lot of variables in a game like that.
That's something I don't know.
Yeah.
That I can't answer. I don't know.
Because there's a lot of players on that field. I'm not saying that it's not happening. I'm just asking the question because I'm genuinely curious.
And I don't know either. Like, I mean, and then how much is it? Is it all of them? Is it, like there's questions and there's people talking about it. But, I watch a game and when it seems very athletic and awesome to me. But just knowing what I know about other industries, I wouldn't be surprised to know how much even these other ones are being controlled.
Well, if you're manifesting the outcome through dark magic, then there's all the pieces will happen for that to happen.
And there's so many opportunities for numbers when you're in a game, like the score, the time, the clock happens to stop. I mean, I see a lot of synchronicities happening. I'm just wondering which ones are designed.
they've caught people recently coming out of setups with scripts. So I mean, we can talk about all day long that it's becoming aware. The world's becoming aware that a lot of this stuff is staged. And a lot of what we see is staged. And I believe that over the next 18 months, because you can kind of see what you could see as a pattern. It comes out into conspiracy, TikTok, 9 months, Instagram, 9 months, mainstream, 9 months after that. And there's this flow of information that takes about 27 months to come out, and it seems to be speeding up, but you can watch it. You can watch what was conspiracy
dominoes.
27 months ago is now talked about by Tucker Carlson today.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing of like, oh, the Wuhan lab, you're getting censored for posting about it. But then like however many later, suddenly now they're allowed to post about it. But then suddenly now it's accepted.
Well, so
it's like a chain reaction of brain
I've gone through
warping.
the same thing. I talked about chemtrails in 2019
Yeah.
on a podcast, and next thing you know, banks are shutting me down.
Yeah, you're getting censored
And
for
then
that.
fast forward into 2020, 2021, 2022, we're telling people and showing evidence of chemtrails.
Yeah.
And we're not getting censored.
Not getting censored.
Yeah, but then, fast forward to 2024, we're getting censored for talking about
Structured water.
and minerals.
Right, minerals.
Specific minerals. Because that's, so like there's a flow in which this happens.
Right, which is definitely being controlled through a filter of top-down,
Yeah.
controls.
But what I want to get into is like, irrespective of, every tool is good and bad, right?
Yep.
There's methods to doing things. There's numbers, there's astrology, there's energy, there's emotions, there's practices that people are doing. You've seen the darker side of it. What has it taught you about the light side of manifestation? Because there's obviously some truth to it. Without the sacrifice, without the darkness, there must be another way. Have you learned something from going from one end to the other?
100%. What I learned in all of this is you can do all the same things and more on the light side. Because one, you get to keep your moral, you get to keep your soul, as they say, but that's a whole nother matrix because no one can sell their soul. So if you ever hear someone sold their soul, it's not a real thing. But you can't sell what's not yours to begin with. But I learned that God can actually do all and the above, but most people, the same people that do the gematria, convinced the masses that if you're going to say God or turn to God, it's automatically something religious. So they're so scared to go into that. So it's way easier to go into witchcraft and dark magic, which is more spelly and cool and edgy as a form to get where you want. But that requires the sacrifice. On the God side, God already made the sacrifice for you. So all the good comes because it's already done and written. But on the dark side, you have to make the sacrifice. So you're going to lose someone you love or you're going to die. And that's just how it happens. And it comes for you.
You said earlier something about that they understand the rules of karma.
Yeah.
So there's
Karmic law.
obviously like a common set of laws that are being followed. Like is there more laws that are being followed other than the karmic ones?
There's many sub-religions. A lot of what I practiced was dilemma. But as far as karmic law, I was able to see how certain people would be in a room, they're going to do what they do, and then they put on a whole new face, which is, I gained a poker face. Like, I have an amazing poker. I can go from laughter to sadness to mad to funny again really quick because there's this psychological switch that you learn from being in the room where a ritual is being done, witnessing it, and being able to switch your face completely to walk outside for paparazzi to take pictures of you and put on a smile. A lot of people, eventually it fades off and then you can start seeing when they're sad and upset and stuff. But that's like another practice. It's a psychological switch.
You were saying on the light side, you're doing things that are in alignment with you and it feels good.
Right.
Right. What is it doing to people's bodies over time if they're constantly doing these practices of sacrifice and all that? Did you feel something in your body when you would do that? Like, is there a conscience? Is there like a feeling of like, man, I can't believe I'm doing this? Or were you just so in it and all in that you couldn't even feel that?
In the beginning, I was all in and I didn't feel it. But then I believe that, God started revealing things to me and basically giving me back like my emotion. Like, even I'll compare it to a war, for example, which I'm not going to go in detail about any specific war, but I was able to change my perspective from being so, and I'll talk about it from, instead of the war, I'll talk about it on right-wing and left-wing politics. Once I woke up in the first surface level matrix, I was like, yeah, let's trigger the libs. And I was like, then I had to humble again. Wait a minute, they're human too. Why am I so excited to make a group of people mad? Does that make me any better? Like, I'll do that with that. Like, God finally came in and like showed me, wait a minute, something's not right. How am I so okay to be doing these things when I'm just expecting this fame and the power, whatever I'm manifesting? There's some dark stuff being done in order to get those things. Do you not see what you're doing? So it's that same type of thing, because even the trigger the libs, that's a whole ritual on its own. Even the, I'm not even gonna go there, but there's even phrases, political phrases are satanic rituals, and statements are satanic spells on slogans. So, you know, everything at the end of the day, they have their hands, the warlocks and the witches have their hands in everything that the masses, which is common sense, but about like games and stuff, like, while even if we focus on how they pick the scores of the gematria and the numbers and how they get it accurate, whether it's from dark magic, whatever it is, all they care about is that we're not focused on the spiritual war of good and evil, and we're focused on the two teams. So
On the details, yeah. The physical things that we can see.
We went through that journey and realized that, you know, because at first we were fighting out and, you know, pandemic and masks and that, we realized that wasn't the right place to be. So we shifted our message back in the early stage of the pandemic just to support and inspire people to be better. And that took some time, because everybody wants to drag you into the fight with the questions and stuff like that. But that was a big shift for us, is there is a right, there is a left. They are both wrong because they're keeping you in the fight. And when we left the fight, that's actually when our success happened.
There's compassion for all.
Yeah.
I want to go into your reputation, because being censored, having people say things about you, I mean, that's a death experience in itself.
Yeah.
So like, what did that feel like? How did you come out of that? And where are you going with it?
So aside from God, trolling, I'm not gonna lie, has been like the biggest thing for me.
That's what
in
we
order
do.
to stay afloat. They said, call me a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. I literally spent months wearing a giant, ridiculous tinfoil hat that I created. I put a cross on there just so that it's like whatever too. But I would like go on the beach and like make tinfoil hats for people, and we'd walk down the beach and just have people join my tinfoil group, and we just like walk. And I made a music video, tinfoiled an entire home, and just like, it was a very prophetic video. I took it off YouTube, but I'm gonna put it back on. But the video is literally everything burning around, and like I'm like saying like it's gonna happen, basically, like the fires. But like that's what you have to do. Like, they call me a flat earther, and like I'm a big firmament guy. I'll keep it at that, you know. But I literally go and make videos like trolling. Like I'll be like, oh, I just flatulated. I just, you know, like just stupid. Like that's the only thing you can do. They call me a MAGA singer. Like it's another crazy story, but my backpack exploded. I'm not gonna talk about what I think or why it happened. My bag exploded on an airplane, and it was all over the news. And then all the news articles say, MAGA rapper, pro-Trump rapper, backpack explode on plane. Like, what does that have to do with a bag exploding?
That was your bag?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I remember, and I'm like, come on, really? A bag exploded? Yeah. Now the next thing you know is that they're going to restrict us from all of these things. That's what I was thinking. That was you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
you're famous.
No kidding.
No, that was crazy.
That was ridiculous. Conspiracy singer bag explode on plane. Like, what does, like, why can't you just say backpack explodes on plane? Like, why do you have to bring that in? But I would just like have fun with it. So I made a shirt with like every word I was ever called, and like just having fun. You have to look at it like a bully. You embrace the words they call you, and it takes their power away. And that's what they are. They're bullies.
Yeah, they're looking for, it's a relationship. They're looking for a control-response relationship. So if you don't give it to them, what they wanted is gone. It dissipates.
We were watching Bugs Life?
Bugs Life.
During the pandemic, when we were fighting against everybody.
Yeah.
You know, because deeply down, we wanted to help people.
Yeah.
But people weren't hearing the message, and it was like frustrating to see what was happening, and we were just like, you know, not accepting people for their decisions, trying to just push our narrative. You know, don't do this, do that. And then we watched that, and then, you know, the bugs are like all standing up trying to fight, and we realized, wait a minute, we were being programmed at a young age to stand up against the bullies and fight.
Yeah.
But if we don't do that, then everything breaks. And so then that was the day that we switched and we stopped fighting.
But it took some time, because it was in part, especially me.
Yeah.
It's part of the DNA. Like it was him talking me
what's
off.
rewiring?
It was him talking me off a cliff all the time because I'm like saying things and he's like, "Hey, afterwards, let's not say that. Hey, after this,"
Yeah.
or people would troll me in the media for being fat at the time, and hey, let's not respond. And I would try to answer and be nice and all this stuff, and everything would fail.
And that's the thing. It's the relationship, right? So it's like any codependent relationship or any abusive relationship. There's also a triangle. Like it's the carp triangle. I forgot what the proper name, but it's like the victim, the victim,
Abuser.
Yeah. There's where everyone's always on one piece of the three.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's probably a observer and abuser.
yeah,
Victim observer.
there's I got to remember it, but
Yeah.
it's an important triangle that it affects relationships, it affects how we are in the world. But if you're removing the power by, like you just said, trolling, you're leaning in to play, right? So if you're on one side, it becomes defensive. If you're like fighting back, or if you're defending yourself, you've now lost the control of the narrative to the opposing party. So the way to regain control is ignore, right? Doesn't exist. Then they're bored. They're like, all right, let's find someone else we can play with. Or to play, meaning now you're playing. Now you're actually letting them know you're enjoying the thing. They didn't want you to enjoy it. They wanted you to suffer. But now, if you're showing enjoyment, which is the playing, the trolling, the joking, that throws them off too. It's like, that's not what I wanted from this bullying experience. I wanted to they wanted to be in control. And you being defensive or fighting back keeps that thing locked in place. So it's actually a beautiful thing in growth is to learn, because now you're gaining yourself out of it. So you're actually stepping out of your own insecurities, the reflex to get defensive, those kind of things, which I come from a person who was bullied. I was bullied my entire life as a kid. So my reflex was to get defensive and to try to, they think I'm wrong about something. I need to prove to them that I'm not wrong. And so it became like proving yourself, which is a common archetype.
Well, you bully because you want the reaction.
Yeah.
If you don't get the reaction, you don't get the hit of emotions.
As I get older, I'm like, I just need to play. I need to, like, first of all, just take a breath, take a beat in my case, just because I'm still having my trauma from being bullied. So I am probably getting reactive and triggered first. And as I get better, I'll probably get less and less effective. But then I just lean back into play, and then boom, it breaks up, it dissipates the entire situation, and you become a troll. Everyone's like, well, these trolls, but you're just having fun. You're playing with life. You're bringing the heaviness down.
I like playing with life.
Having fun.
I like having fun. I like laughing at things that are stupid.
Yeah, and we're musicians. They don't. What do you call it when you do music? It's called play music. We're gonna go play music. It's the word play. So, like naturally we get to be in a play, which is like Shakespeare is creating a play. So the word play is coming up in all aspects of society, of life, and music. It's like, it's such a powerful word to play, because who plays? Kids play.
I think I'm going to change it now.
Play maneuvers?
Play maneuvers, play healing.
Yeah.
And play teaching.
Yeah, you're not working music, you're playing music. And kids play.
I'm literally going to change that from work.
Right?
When people say, I love your work.
Love your play.
I love my play?
Yeah.
What I'm doing?
But it's a lighter word than work. Work is like what society has told us we have to work hard to survive.
I hate it when people say, I love your work. Yeah. That's the one thing, but I didn't have a way to replace it.
Sure.
Now I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love what you do.
Well, it's like taking the weight off of all language, right? Like I have to go to work, or I have to do something, whereas I get to do something, and you can. It's the same concept.
Well, it's the words are so powerful, and like if you're making a song, and the power you now have at influencing people in society through your music, how does that feel? I mean, sitting there when you're creating a story, it's like, I know this is gonna impact people.
Well, now I just look at it like, all right. Every single word I say affects someone. Children are listening. What's the best way to positively reverse the psyop of what's happening in the industry, and make an impact and give him the glory, And it's a blessing, because now I get to use his gift for what it was intended to, versus what the enemy tried to tamper in me.
Yeah.
If you listen to like my songs from before, like I'm like declaring death over people. I'm literally saying, "Hail Satan, my father," and now it's just like, who's gonna show the children what is wrong and what is right? It's like, it's
I love that last night.
We had a sing along last night.
Yeah.
That was the first time I was saying that live. So
How does that go again? It was like,
who's gonna take the lead?
by putting their life on the line. Who's gonna show the children what is wrong and what is right?
I mean, I love it.
It's so beautiful. Like last night when you started singing that, the whole room changed.
Yeah.
And my guitar is tuned to 432, which we talked about too. So that's the frequency. We talked about 440 being another co-opting, and like we talked about industries being co-opted, but frequencies got co-opted the same way. And it's a more agitating frequency. And so like you getting back into like the old frequency, like church bells, there weren't, those are 528, 432, all the beautiful sounds and from before the modern era have an actual, a true musical healing frequency. And so co-opting that frequency, even sometimes good music is not getting the full potential effect. So I keep my instruments in 432, and when I did Plandemic the musical, it's either 528 or 432.
Yeah. Does it change, like, for example, the radio changes the frequency, but like what about Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube? Like if I listen to it on a computer or a device.
Depends who uploaded it.
Yeah.
They don't change it from what you put up.
So they just let it be the way that it is.
Yeah.
What are you playing?
Honestly, now, like on the new music, it's in the right frequencies. But before, I would say it was more of the mainstream frequencies. I didn't control it.
Yeah.
So,
And just to finish that point, it doesn't necessarily mean that if the music's in 440, it's now bad. Because at the end of the day, there's still so many. That's one ingredient of a million. There's intention.
Disrupting
the portal is open.
Or it's not allowing the full maximum potential.
What do you
for
mean
example.
the portal's open?
So if it's on a 440 and the mantra is being said in a negative connotation, the portal's open for that to manifest on your life.
Yeah.
If it's in 432, if you speak it and you jam out to it, it can still manifest on your life. But if you're just listening to it, or if it was played in a restaurant and you just haven't heard, it won't touch you as much.
440, that's 8.
Right.
Interesting.
And
Infinity.
if a song's positive and has amazing lyrics and all the other ingredients are good and the intention's good and it still happens to be in 440, it's still going to have a beautiful thing. I'm just saying, what if that same thing of all these positive ingredients was also in 432? I'm saying maybe it has the potential to go further. Mm-hmm. And the 440 might just be hindering it a little bit from going all the way. But doesn't mean, like, I listen to a lot of amazing music that's in 440 and all these other ingredients are positive, so I'm still getting a positive effect. So I don't want to like put out like, oh, all the music in 440 is all bad. No, it's still the lyrics and the intention and the love and the frequency and all the other magical parts of a song, beyond. Frequency is one ingredient of infinite ingredients.
Yeah, the mantras and everything.
But why not, if we know these things, why not take it further? Why not do 432 or 528? And maybe there's another one I don't know about. We're still always learning new
there's great
things.
frequencies. I mean, level 11, all the way through.
Yeah, there's so many.
Did you know Avicii?
Mm-mm.
Did you see his music video for Better Days?
Yeah.
Do you know what happened?
To him?
Mm-hmm. I know his story a bit. Like he was definitely he was speaking out against some of the industry stuff. So.
I don't know if the silent children thing is real yet, but I'd hope for it to be. Many people in the truth movement want it to be real, but that's not confirmed. If that was a real thing with him, Bourdain, Bennington, and one more person.
Right, a few other people. Chris Cornell.
But what is true is what he put in the video. It shows that he was awake to those things, the child trafficking. And one thing I can say, it's a story I actually never told. This was pre-God. I was in Chicago. It was 2020. And I was in a gentleman's nightclub. And I was getting a dance. And all of a sudden, wake me up when... That one came.
That's my boy Allo. Yeah.
And so that came on. And I'm like, oh, Vici. And then she like looks at me. And because I guess we're having a talk about the music industry. And then when that came on, I was like, it's so sad what happened to him. And I had just seen that music video. And I was like, more in like whatever. And she looks at me and she goes, so you know. I'm like, what? And then I'm like, well, I can assume. And then she starts crying on my lap. And it never happened like that. I'm like, are you okay? Like I was like, oh my God. And then she's like, I was his dancer. I know what they did to him. And so she basically told me like they killed him. So that's all I know. Like there's no confirmation.
I feel the emotion.
But it was just weird and a weird experience, something I never shared.
I'm getting like full body
tingles right now.
Yeah.
Like really strong. Yeah, because man, he was changing the industry, and he had a message, and it just I saw that music
positive.
video, and then I knew like something had happened, and it's just
Had
it's. You know, this goes to the reputation. There's, you know, different levels of people speaking out and having to rebuild yourself and step through all that. It's like, takes a lot of courage.
What do you want people to know about you that maybe they don't know today?
I'm just a chill guy. I don't know. I would say if you're an artist, you want to be in the music industry, you can still be successful without doing any of the dark stuff. And if you don't know what that means yet, if you're in the industry, you will. It will come one way or another. There's only very, very rare cases that it's dodged. Very rare. But if you're very talented and you're wanting to be the top artist or whatever your goal is, just make sure you're doing it to serve God, to serve humanity, and do it for the light, because the dark is very, very common in the industry. And sometimes it will come in disguise, and you know, it seems like it's all good, and then you end up at a house party and you see what it is on the second floor. So anyways, God can do it way more. You get to keep your integrity, your morals, and your quote unquote soul, which God has from the beginning anyway. So yeah.
Cool. DPAK. I mean, we talked to you a lot. You've been on tour with us, but what is it that people don't know about you, but you want them to know?
Yeah, I think the thing that people probably don't know about me is how much I really do have inner challenge. You know, I think when I'm out a lot, I'm, you know, looking from a place of, oh, lead by example, show confidence and this and that. But behind all that is a lot of self-doubt, a lot of insecurity that led to me having the tools to share with people. But I think I'm starting to realize that sharing more of my vulnerability is actually going to be better for my message. Like I've been hiding from vulnerability, and I have a lot of it inside. Like I'm very insecure, but I think because I just wanted to, like, you know, I was coming from a different place of like, oh, lead by example. I'm this, I'm healthy. I don't have, you know, and I feel like that made sense at the time, but I'm starting to see that maybe people might go, oh, he's already got it. I can't do that. And I'm like, no, I'm actually struggling every day. Like I'm hanging out with him. I'm like, I do have like my challenges around food and addictive. I have this, I'm going through it all the time, but maybe people don't know it.
You mean like Taco Bell addiction?
Oh, we did, you know?
Yeah, because I heard about that.
You know.
Yeah, we had a few bad
Bobby,
nights.
we're friends with Bobby.
Would
Bobby
not be happy
Bobby wouldn't be
at
happy.
some of the stuff we ate.
But
Yeah.
you know, there might have been a little bit of a stop at Del Taco sometime at 2 in the morning.
I want to thank you
What
guys.
happens in Cali?
I want to thank you for both for coming out. No, for a couple things. Number one, just blessing us with your music. I mean, it was incredible to hear you both singing together, to be able to sing with you. It was so fun. Looking forward to more of that.
Yeah.
And, you know, for telling your story. And when you want to tell more of that story, like what we have is this burgeoning audience of people that really give a shit. And they're actually helping the people that are coming through what you're coming through. And I believe that the more that you share the story, the more they know, the more compassion, the more understanding. I've had the opportunity to be on both sides of this as well from a different way. So I've had the compassion for people without the judgment. And I think that's really important. So the more that, as you're ready to talk about it, we're ready to receive it.
Cool.
Appreciate you guys both.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.